और एक इन महाराज को देखो पूरा दिन फोन में लगा रहेगा।
दैट प्लानिंग तो मैंने भी कर रखी है ऊनो कॉइन के साथ।
नए जमाने के साथ नई चीजें आजमाएं। लुकिंग फॉर बिटकॉइन? डाउनलोड दी Unocoin ऐप।
Guys, we really need to work hard. This wasn't a good quarter. Tell me, are you happy with this?
Yes! Unocoin.
Want to earn Bitcoin? Just grab your phone and shake it. Download the Unocoin app.
Bitcoin.
Get a systematic buying plan from the Unocoin app to get your Bitcoin today. Download the Unocoin app.
Oh, I forgot to unmute myself. Anyways, hello and welcome back everyone to Uno Coins, another weekly live episode. And today we are going to be discussing about Bitcoin Lightning Network and its benefits. Now, this is something that I'm particularly very excited about because very recently, just a few months back, even Unocoin integrated Bitcoin Lightning Network on the application. And we have here the Bitcoin expert with us, Mr. Sunny Ray, the president and the co-founder of Unocoin, to help us understand about Bitcoin better. Hi, Sunny. How are you?
Hello, Shambhavi. Yeah, no, I'm excited about, as usual, talking about Bitcoin, but, I'm kind of happy we didn't start off with the obvious point about Bitcoin.
The obvious point, of course, yesterday it was bonkers and I was just sitting over there and I'm looking at it, the price moving up, and there's discussion happening in multiple groups. Oh, it has touched the Indian all-time high in INR. Basically, Bitcoin has touched all-time high in INR on this exchange and that exchange, and I'm still confused. I'm like, okay, wait, what's happening here? It's happened here, it hasn't happened. So apparently it was very exciting because all-time high before halving was something that not everybody was expecting, and I would say 90% of the people were not expecting. Now it has already happened in INR. It's just a matter of time before it also happens in dollar. It has happened, and I think almost 30 currencies already. the Bitcoin all-time high, and that speaks a lot about inflation and the economic problems of our world, and why Bitcoin is something that should be focused on right now on a from a mainstream perspective. So, how was your feeling yesterday, Sunny?
Euphoric. Ecstatic. Happy. I don't know, it's great, great, great. I think this is awesome. Yeah, it's coming, and it's coming fast. And I think you and I, we've been, connecting every week, every 2 weeks, and talking about all of the exciting developments in Bitcoin. And we had the ETFs and BlackRock, and I don't know if you know, but like I heard something like every day 10 times as whatever is mined, whatever Bitcoin is mined, 10 times that amount is being bought by these ETFs. Right. So that's crazy. And then, as you and I also alluded to, and hopefully we'll do another talk about this, as the halvening, right? As that approaches, another crazy, crazy exciting thing, because on the ETF side, you had demand go through the roof. And then with the halving, you're going to have supply that's going to be halved. And it's like programmatic, it's baked into the code. So anyway, so today we're going to talk about something different, another angle, right? So I'm pumped about that. We're going to talk about the Bitcoin Lightning Network. Yeah. So where do you want to start today?
I mean, there's so much to Bitcoin Lightning Network, and Bitcoin Lightning Network is an innovation that for a long time Bitcoin was, kind of looking for. And when it came into the picture, it was one of the best things that had happened to Bitcoin from a consumer perspective. And so, just to begin with, first of all, I would like to tell our audience, guys. I know we are doing this session in English, लेकिन अगर आपके हिंदी में भी कोई सवाल हो तो आप बिल्कुल पूछ लीजिएगा. I'll be very happy to translate your questions, and of course Sunny's answers for you. So this way आपके जो भी सवाल हैं हम उनका सारा जवाब दे पा रहे होंगे यहाँ पर. And of course these sessions are about helping you out understand what we are doing, what is Bitcoin, what is Lightning Network, what is this market and hype all about. So don't shy away from asking your questions. We are here to just do that. Okay, now coming to the Lightning Network part, Sunny. So a lot of people, when they hear about Lightning Network, they don't really understand the concept of it. So if you can explain what was the need of Lightning Network in the first place, and then what is it solving today?
Okay, that's a good question, good place to start. What's the need? So what's the biggest, well, one of the biggest criticisms about Bitcoin, right? Why do so many of the other cryptos even exist? You could ask, right? What are their main kind of angles, or at least used to be, was, well, our coin is faster, right? If you look at even traditional, like let's say monetary systems, Visa can do something like 4,000 transactions per second. The Bitcoin network can only do about 7. So the obvious question people say is, "Oh, you think Bitcoin's gonna, serve the world?" But it's flawed fundamentally. Bitcoin doesn't scale. Bitcoin is too. Here are the two kickers: Bitcoin is slow, and Bitcoin is expensive. So to transfer even small amounts of Bitcoin, it's very expensive. So I think Lightning speaks to that core proposition of P2P money. It needs to be frictionless. It needs to be fast. It needs to be free, and Lightning is a technology that's been developed for a long, long time. Yeah, for many, many years. I think Joseph Poon was one of the kind of original founders behind it, and now is again. I wouldn't say it's mainstream. I wouldn't say it's like scaled like to infinity and beyond. It's still got a ways to go, but it's a technology that holds great promise, and essentially could become the way that Bitcoin gets used by billions of people. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's really interesting to see, how Bitcoin being so open source that it is, there's
Mm.
constant innovation that can happen. There's always room for innovation. And of course, Bitcoin Lightning was something that was much required, given the high transaction fee, the network demands, and everything. But at the same time, Sunny, I remember, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong here, but Bitcoin Cash and other folks like this also came into the picture when, they had to create bigger blocks and everything. This was again essentially solving the same problem. Why did they not get same kind of traction as that maybe Lightning is getting, or after Lightning Bitcoin is increasingly getting?
That's another excellent question. Yeah, because fundamentally, Bitcoin Cash was created to address this issue, right? People said, "Hey, Bitcoin isn't gonna scale. You need to enlarge the block size," and hence, it was created. So, great question. Um, I mean, I don't know. I don't think anyone knows the answer. This is my, 2 cents. I believe Bitcoin has something that nobody has, and it's really, really difficult to, I think, offset, which is it has network effects, right? So, see, you could design a better internet that we had than we have today. Like people have designed better internets, but the internet that we have today, HTTP, SMTP, they reach a certain like a network effect where enough people have it that it just doesn't make sense for you to look at something else. And so Bitcoin, because it was the first to market, because it's the original, right? And if you look at, well, when the Bitcoin Cash and the Bitcoin network, when that fork happened, what were the reasons? Well, it wasn't that the people on the side, the small blockers as they call them, they didn't say, hey, we don't want Bitcoin to be low cost and we don't want it to be cheap and fast. They were just saying, hey, listen, but it shouldn't come at the expense of the integrity of the network. And what gives it integrity? It gives decentralization, right? We talk about that a little bit, or maybe a lot, but we should talk about it even more, because when the small blockers said, hey, we're not going to allow Bitcoin's, kind of like the 4 megabytes to increase or whatever it might be, the people were up in arms. But the fundamental reason, at least my understanding of it, was that they wanted Bitcoin nodes to be able to be run in homes and everywhere, in a basement, and in the middle of the desert and space, and not just in, for example, big server farms, like Amazon. So that was the reason, is that, look, if you put the cart before the horse, right? If you prioritize free and fast over decentralization, then the entire thesis is somewhat lost and is diluting, and it's moving in this weird direction. But instead, what if you could preserve that, and what if you could approach these other problems like fast and free at a different layer, not at the base layer, but at a different layer, almost like a layer 2. You've heard of layer 2 solutions, so it's like another layer. And again, for most people, it's like, whatever, right? But if you kind of follow, how computers work in the real world and how gaming works, like, if, let's say, you and I are playing 4 of your friends versus 4 of my friends on some fancy video game, the way those networks work as well is in that kind of way, is you have pieces of it that's broken up, and certain things will happen at one layer, certain things will happen at another layer. So when I heard about the Lightning Network, I was always like, oh. And when I heard about Liquid, when I hear about people trying to tackle layer 2 solutions and not sacrifice the core kind of tenets and the thing that gives Bitcoin value, to me that seems so intelligent and like the way to go forward. Yeah. So anyways, I have some analogies and stuff prepared that I was going to share with the audience and yourself, about, because one thing is, okay, it makes Bitcoin faster, makes it cheaper, but how, right? That's kind of like an enigma. So maybe we can talk about that later. But yeah, does that answer your question a little bit? So
Yes.
it's fascinating, but yeah, I think Bitcoin has network effects, and I think Bitcoin Lightning is a more elegant and more decentralization preserving approach at the core layer, and then kind of abstracting out these more like second layers. I don't know. That's my thinking, but I'm sure people will agree or disagree.
I actually completely agree with that. And, when it comes to changing things, I feel like change is very easy when it has to be from the scratch, but change while keeping the core values together and then improving a system on top of it is something very hard. And like you said, it's very intelligent. And when I have to explain Bitcoin Lightning Network to someone, and I just say it's like a flyover from a road. It's just, helping ease up the traffic like that. So that is one thing that I always used to explain it to people. We have a couple of very nice comments over here. Okay. Abhijit here is saying good evening to all of you. In the last session, I requested for Lightning Network withdrawal option in Unocoin platform. Whether any progress made on that?
Yeah,
So
let's address that. That's a good question. I did bring that up with Satvik and our team, and that is being addressed. So we launched Lightning not too long ago, so that's something that's super exciting. And we're really happy about that. But Lightning, like I said, and then we're going to explain how it works in a little bit with channels and whatnot. It's not trivial either, and so sometimes you need buy side, you need send and receive, you need both sides of it to kind of make it work. And so we've been rolling it out slowly, but yeah, that's something that we're definitely working on, and I did touch base with our team about that. And then we have Aditya. Oh, I love Aditya. He's got great energy. He's bringing that energy every day to Twitter, the Bitcoin energy. So he's saying, because anything not Bitcoin is spam. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of people that, kind of, and it actually is a good point, because if you look at Bitcoin is ballooning, Bitcoin is going up, crypto, not the same way. Yeah. And so it hasn't quite been tracking, which is really unique, because that never happens. But give it some time, perhaps. I'm sure, when the masses wake up and retail comes in, they'll probably start, buying up crypto. But people should be aware, because, the signal is Bitcoin. And now it's probably a lot of institutional, it'll probably, because of this ETF stuff. And again, they're Bitcoin ETFs, not crypto ETFs, right? So I'm sure it's a lot of really smart money that's getting in right now.
absolutely, I agree. And smart money indeed, because smart people always prefer to, rather look at the core values of a certain thing before investing in it. It's like very similar to when you are researching. I mean, I don't know if this is the correct example, but if we are investing in a certain stock as well, we're going to look at the prospects of this particular company. How is that even going to grow in the coming days? Now with Bitcoin, it's very different, of course, because it's an alternative to money. That's the very fact about it. And about all of these other cryptocurrencies, those are just, tokens to be utilized on that particular chain or that particular project. And of course, people do play with the price and all, and sometimes it also helps them, benefits them. And but the value of Bitcoin is something that cannot be, determined basis all of those other factors. So I can rather compare the stock market to the crypto market, but I cannot compare stocks to Bitcoin, because the entire idea is different over there. And very recently, I think just couple days back, a friend of mine came over and we were having this interesting discussion. He's like, why should I trust a new age money system when we have something already in existence? So I told him, saying, after explaining all the inflation paths and other important stuff about Bitcoin, limited supply and stuff like that, I told him, saying, imagine a scenario where, when the seashells were used as a medium of transaction, imagine at that point somebody would have found, say, tons of gold, and they would have realized its value. Or maybe they would have thought that this is something rare, this is something to be preserved, and they would have kept it. Imagine their net worth at the time when gold was being used as a medium of exchange. So, I mean, it's like you get a chance to adapt to Bitcoin early. I would say take it, learn about it, take it. So yeah, Sunny. Now coming back to, oh yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if Mazula can do a screen. I have another source. I was trying to share my screen, but I was going to show something to you. It's kind of interesting. It's called the Bitcoin dominance chart, and it shows out of the entire market cap, what percentage of it is denominated in Bitcoin. And anyways, maybe we're having some difficulty here showing it, but it's okay. But
I
yeah,
mean, if you're on the panel, I can see this option to share the screen. That's the
I
third button.
I am sharing screen, and I'm sharing it, but on the left side, yeah, there we go. Thanks,
Yes.
Mazula. So see here, this is the Bitcoin dominance chart, and you see the numbers. So right now, if you go to the end, Bitcoin is at 51.17%. Ethereum is at 18%, USDT is 4.95, so on and so forth. Yeah. So this is of the entire market cap in the world right now, tracked by CoinMarketCap, of course. This is like, so Bitcoin is more than 50% of everything out there. And this is why I keep bringing our attention back to Bitcoin, because it's the thing that's been around for 10 years. It's what the ETFs are around. It's the one that's having the halving. It's the one where all the smart money is. It's where all the smart programmers are. It's where, I don't know, it's just so obvious. It's the one that countries are adopting. I mean, you look at El Salvador's president, he's just like a true, Bitcoiner. Yeah, so he says here that Michael Saylor says the true dominance is 90%. Yeah. I mean, if you look at it, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. Oh, okay. So are we going to talk about Lightning a bit more? Because I was gonna try and explain it. So this morning I was trying to explain it to my daughters, right? I was like, okay, if I can explain it to my daughters, then maybe I'll have a chance of explaining it to like an audience. But I want to get your feedback on what you think of, I don't know, my breakdown. Yeah. Or why don't you start first? Do you want to give me your I don't know, analogy? You said you had like a bridge one, right? That I've heard before. Do you want to share that one?
So, yeah, I mean, sure, why not? For me, Lightning Network is like, there's a very busy road, let's say, and there's a lot of traffic on it. Then the government decides to, let's say, or whatever the entity is, they decide to build a flyover. And that is kind of, diverting the traffic and making it easier for people to travel, easing up the traffic. That is exactly. And this is also making the travel time less. This is making the petrol, make you guys save petrol as well. Since there's not much traffic over there, petrol can be related as the gas fees, whatever we pay. System Lightning is like a bridge over the existing network, and the transactions, because there are now two ways to it, the transaction fees is also cut down. This is my analogy. I mean,
I like that.
it could be a
I like
little.
that. Yeah. I mean, I was gonna give like a more, I was gonna eventually share like a more technical answer, or maybe we should start there, yeah, and then we can go off into analogy land. But I made some notes here earlier, but essentially, it's just a shortcut, like you said, like the Passover, for making quick and cheap Bitcoin transactions. That's like, in short, what it is. But the thing is that like the way it actually works is the Lightning Network enables two people, so let's say you and I, to open up a private channel between the two of us. And essentially within these channels, we can make as many transactions as we want, essentially instantly and for free. And then once we're done transacting between one another, the settlement, the final balance is kind of shown onto the Bitcoin network. It makes its way back to the Bitcoin network. So this way, the Lightning Network essentially helps, with speed up transactions and reduce costs, making, again, Bitcoin, so that, because a lot of people laugh, oh, Bitcoin's never going to be used for coffee. Well, Lightning makes it at least possible, right? Who knows if people will actually do it, because the fact that Bitcoin goes up in price, and people make fun of the fact that, oh, if you buy a coffee today, that'll buy you a Ferrari or something, 5 years down the road. So might as well not buy that coffee. So that's more the technical kind of, terminology or whatever. I'm sure that goes a lot deeper than that. But the analogy that I was gonna share was, so the one I was sharing with my daughters is, do you like stickers? Do you like stickers? Have you ever used, do you know what stickers are? Tell me, you know what stickers are. Stickers, yeah?
Yes. Actually,
Yes.
I have them over my, different gadgets.
Good. So my daughters are really into stickers, right? So I was trying to explain to them, like, let's say, for example, the two of them wanted to start a sticker club, a sticker trading club with all their friends, right?
Oh.
Now, if every time somebody wanted to trade a sticker, they had to get in a car and drive over and get everyone together, it would make it super slow and super expensive, right? So maybe the sticker trading club won't even happen. But what if instead of that, right? What if you had like a box, let's say, I don't know, at one person's house, you just agreed, the person who was most central to everyone, you had a big box and everyone put their stickers inside of that box, and you kept like a record of who owes what stickers to whom. And anytime you needed to, the only time you would need to like actually go to the box is if you wanted to put new stickers into the box, or if you wanted to take stickers out. Yeah. So essentially, that handwriting, that pieces of paper where they keep track, oh, X gave Y so many stickers, and for trading Z stickers, that is kind of like the Lightning Network. It's essentially just keeping track that, oh, Sunny owes Shambhavi 4 stickers she gave him. And so by having just a record of what the actual assets are doing in terms of ownership, you do away with having to actually get in the car and drive to that person, yeah, which is the Bitcoin network, because Bitcoin again is 7 transactions per second. It's super expensive. It can be very slow, but the Bitcoin Lightning is that record. But the cool thing about that record is that it's on the Bitcoin network itself, and the plus minus is actually being done on the Bitcoin network. So there's no way to like kind of cheat the system. What do you think of that analogy? Does that confuse things even more?
I feel like previously when you explained, of course, I mean that's a very good analogy, about the track stuff. But I also feel like when you were earlier explaining about how this happens between two people and there's a private channel that happens, I feel like I don't know if you watched that cartoon. It's more like my generation cartoon, or maybe older generation. I have no idea. Doraemon. Have you ever heard of that particular cartoon show? So
No.
basically, we have this anywhere door. You open that door, you can go anywhere and you can come back to that door. It's like a two-way portal. So you don't
Hmm.
have to travel or anything. That just you open it thinking some place in your mind. Let's say another person, me thinking, okay, from where Sunny is, I'll open that door, I'll land over there. So I feel like somehow we can say that lightning is working in that way. I don't know if your daughters watch Doraemon. I don't even know if it's a popular
Dora?
show
Are you
anymore.
talking about Dora? Did you say Dora?
Doraemon. Doraemon.
No, they watch a bunch of shows, but I don't think that one's on the list. But yeah, that was, I don't know, maybe not the best analogy, but I thought it was cute because again, it's like stickers. I mean, who doesn't like stickers? But more importantly, it demonstrates like how opening up the channel is like that box where you're keeping all the stickers together. That record is kind of like the Lightning Network and doing its auditing. But I mean, the actual Lightning Network is actually quite complex, and it's not. Unfortunately, or fortunately, or whatever, it's not the easiest network to understand or work with. So there are providers, there's a lot of people in this space that have done a lot of great work to make it easier for exchanges like Unocoin to adopt this technology. In fact, we're working with a top-notch company to make our Lightning Network possible, a company called River, which is like a Bitcoin only company, and Alex, the CEO, was kind enough to help us with some integration. So like I said, the Light Network is live. It's still one way, and we're slowly getting it towards kind of like the two-way going. Shambhavi, are you frozen? Hello? Hey, Shambhavi, I think you're back.
I'm so sorry. There was a thing. Okay, I'm so sorry. Yes, continue, Sunny.
Oh, it's okay. I was done. We can go to the next topic or whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah, we have a couple of questions here. One is from Aditya, one is from Abhijit here. Aditya is asking, or rather saying, Unocoin should implement 24-hour free withdrawal to hardware like Strike. They do that with batching.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Noted. I mean, I think the fact that we do offer Bitcoin withdrawals is probably the more noteworthy fact, right? And that we encourage it as well. When we do withdrawals, however, there is a fee that we need to incur. We just, and so anyway, so I think the point is yeah, it's definitely a great idea. But yeah, we'll have to. I think River also, was it River or Strike? They also raised like $80 million last year, so it's a lot more possible. But yeah, I think, but we are looking to make it easier. I think, we're one of the few. Maybe I don't know who else has Lightning Network in India, so we're quite proud of that.
Neither
and
has.
and we were also, I don't know if people know this, but like the Liquid network, if you go back and Google, one of the early Liquid posts, you'll notice that, Unocoin back in, I don't know what it was, 2017 became a part of that as a functionary. And so, we're big supporters of Bitcoin and layer 2 solutions. So hopefully it's, maybe it was a bit before its time, but now with Lightning and Liquid, starting to take main stage, with Bitcoin taking main stage, maybe these two things will become more popular.
Absolutely. And
Did it get
Bitcoin,
frozen again?
yeah, I don't know what's wrong with my network today. Just I have to reconnect over and over again. I don't know what's wrong. So,
That's
anyways, I
okay.
have yeah, I've turned on my hotspot as well, just in case I can connect back quickly. So, interestingly, right, I see a lot of Bitcoin will be meant or and is actually at the mean stage, is supposed to be on the center stage nowadays because of it being open source. This is an open market, of course. People are gonna come create new things, but nothing can beat or be Bitcoin. This is something that I've realized in the past few months. And it's just, nothing can come or beat or do anything about Bitcoin. And in fact, I was having this little chat with my mother very recently where I was trying to explain her about the Bitcoin Lightning Network and how does that work. Because she goes to her little kitty parties with all of her friends, and then she talks about, see, my daughter is in the space. She talks about Bitcoin. She has these lives every week, and you guys should know about Bitcoin. So she does all of that over there, and it's very interesting because I was trying to explain Lightning Network to her, and one thing that she told me is that she happens to curiously ask me about a few other tokens as well. So she's like, what is happening over there? Why are those faster than this? I'm like, Mama, maybe the simple reason is that the kind of demand Bitcoin has, those other tokens don't, which is, again, the scalability is higher, of course, because of different factors. But at the same time, they cannot be Bitcoin. So I like when curiosity comes like that, and from her especially. Here, just to take one of the questions from the comment section, Abhijit is saying, can you shed some light on power law which applies to BTC, and also is the same law applied to KSPA? I'm not sure what KSPA stands for. Okay, Casper is like an innovative blockchain project. So you want to take this up, this question?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not too sure about what he means. Maybe he's referring to the fact that one of the criticisms of Bitcoin is that there's a small group of people who essentially hold an out large number of Bitcoin, due to I guess, the power law and the fact that, if you got in early, there was more Bitcoins being created, there was less demand for it, and so it's cheaper to buy, et cetera, et cetera. So you could get your hands on lots of Bitcoin, right? Like, if, let's say, when Bitcoin was 0.0000 cents or 1 cent or whatever, you could, with $1, you could buy so many. So there are certain people who got in early that, have a large amount. So I think that this person is referring to that. I don't know. I personally don't. I mean, if that is what they're referring to, I don't worry so much about that. I don't know what Caspa is either, so I'm not. I don't know. Maybe I'm totally missing the point here. But if it is around, again, a small group of people holding a large amount, I don't worry about that, mainly because there's exchanges and there's free markets, and anybody can buy as much or as little Bitcoin as they want, and that to me strikes me as like an equal kind of opportunity kind of scenario, right? Where you don't need to necessarily, yeah, it's very fair. And those people that got a lot, if they don't see Bitcoin as money and they're looking to just make profits, they're probably going to sell at one point, and they'll have less of it. So anyways, I think this one's maybe a little bit, if it's what I think it is, maybe it's a little bit off from our conversation topic around Lightning. So I don't know, we can come back to that or entertain other questions. But I don't know. I think the fact that we just hit an all-time high is kind of important, right? Like, I mean, I know we started talking about it, but I don't think people recognize how big of a deal this is, because up until now, only people like you and me talk about it, like, because we work in the space and we kind of have to. But as soon as you pass an all-time high psychologically, for one reason or another, everybody starts talking about it. Yeah, you'll start getting calls from people that you haven't spoken to in years, and ex-boyfriends, ex-girlfriends, long lost family members. Everybody starts coming out of the woodworks. Hey, how are things going? How's that Bitcoin? So I think again, we just passed the all-time high. I think, and if you look at Google Trends and you look up like Bitcoin and what's going on, not many people are even Googling Bitcoin, right? So then how is this price action happening? Most likely, I think the guess is these ETFs, right? They're just swallowing Bitcoin every day. Like yesterday, I think it was the third biggest. Yeah. They're already at some percentage of all gold, ETF, 50% or something. I mean, it's crazy. It's insane what's happening. So
I
I don't
think it's
know. Yeah.
I think today I was looking at one of the Twitter posts that I was just trying to find over here, which gave a number of the amount of bitcoins produced today and the amount, or maybe yesterday's data, I guess, because it was some like 12-hour old post. And then the amount of bitcoin purchased by these major entities, and it was insane. I mean, that was so much more than what was being produced. And very interestingly, just yesterday, when after the all-time high, because I was constantly posting about it on my Instagram, on my Twitter, I actually got a few calls, right? And from my cousins. Those are the same cousins who almost, I think, a year and a half ago questioned my career choice about being in the space. Oh, it's so volatile. Why would you be here? And it has no future. You should change, maybe look into more deeper financial aspects of things. And I was like, okay, whatever. And those same person calls me up and he's like, hey, you work in that space, right? What's happening there? And I'm like,
And then now you're like, okay, whatever.
yeah. So I was about to tell him, it's over, it's not for you. But then I had to be nice.
Reverse psychology, that's a good one. That tends
Yeah.
to work well. Yeah, yeah. No, I was in the gym this morning. People, hey, yeah, so wow, Bitcoin, okay. Everybody's, yeah, it's starting to become something that you can't really ignore. And a lot of people were thinking, oh, Bitcoin's never coming back to these highs. Like, what's happening to Peter Schiff? I worry about him.
Ah, Peter Schiff. Just today, I think I saw this tweet of Nayib Bukele mocking him on Twitter, and it was very, very funny. Besides that, Chetan Bhagat, oh my God, that dude has been like, people in the space have been tagging him like crazy. And I'm like, he's gonna soon delete his Twitter account or something. So
Who's this guy?
Chetan
Is this
Bhagat,
the Salman Khan guy or something?
no, no, no.
No, it's
Chetan
something else. Okay,
is a
okay.
very famous Indian writer. So he's an
Okay.
Indian fiction writer, and I think in 2022, after the Terra Luna fiasco, he
Yeah,
happens to say that the space is dead, crypto is dead, Bitcoin is dead,
of
something like that.
course.
It's a very
Yeah.
elaborated statement. And now everybody, I think it started back around the ETF time. People have been tagging him like crazy, from
Yeah.
a very pleb person to a
He's
very
done. He's done. He's finished. He's
totally.
finished. You don't want to be yeah, the target of the Bitcoin army, that's for sure. These
That's
people are
so.
relentless. Yeah. And they'll remember. Yeah. No, never bet against Bitcoin. That should be like, the tagline.
Yeah, and I mean, if you have certain points to even say that makes sense, if you can bring out some logical points, give some explanation, and say that he just happens to bluntly say this after the crash. I was at that time, people were like, you know what, just wait and watch, we'll show you in some time. And after a year and a half, here we are. He's being tagged in every little post, literally every little post, everywhere I'm looking at is tagged thing. So anyways, Sunny, now that we're talking about Bitcoin Lightning Network, there's also something that is very, very important about Lightning Network and why it was brought into the picture. That is reducing the price of transaction, which we already slightly discussed. But what is the price difference here? Say I'm making two transactions, one from the normal Bitcoin network and one from the Lightning network. So, what is the kind of difference I'm going to see over here?
Night and day. Yeah, like as in, on the Bitcoin network, again, on the Bitcoin network, it fluctuates. It can go up and down, but it could be $10, $5, $20. It could be even higher if the demand for Bitcoin keeps going up. I mean, the fees could get astronomical. Yeah. And whereas Lightning is near free. I mean, you can send, sats to people. Like Lightning enables you to send like to the ninth decimal place or whatever it is, yeah, in terms of Bitcoin. So it literally goes from like mega expensive to almost free and instant. And I think the time wise, it depends, but I think it's about, what is it, 30 minutes to an hour if it's still the same, for it to confirm on the Bitcoin blockchain network, and then it has to propagate and this and that. It's very time consuming and expensive. And that arguably has been one of the biggest criticisms about Bitcoin. And like I said, you could argue, and I'm sure people will get mad at me for saying this, but crypto by and large, most of their thesis, I can almost point to all of them at one point or another. They were like, "Oh, we're a faster version of Bitcoin." And again, Bitcoin took some time because the ossification of like the layer one, and then let's just even ideate and come up with these things like Lightning and all this stuff is insane, and it takes time and a lot of people and resources. But oh man, we were just talking to this team, David Marcus, the ex prime minister, the ex president of PayPal. He used to work for Facebook. He ran the Libra project. So we were talking to their team, about just Lightning and how exciting it is. And David Marcus, we didn't speak with him himself. We talked to some people on his team, but, he's famously known for, he tried Libra, right? He tried that Facebook coin or whatever, didn't work. He worked for PayPal, right? He's seen what works, what doesn't. And after many, many years, he landed on the fact that Bitcoin is it. Like that's going to be like what becomes our global network for moving value. It's going to become where we store value, and hence they're so into Lightning as well, right? So I don't know, like I said, it takes time because most people don't have time to explore these things. They're just like too busy working or too busy whatever, hanging out, doing stuff. But once people get their head around what's happening with Bitcoin, it's almost impossible to ignore. And like I said, because it's open source, it's never what you think it is, because it's always changing and it's always getting better and improving. And and you have all these like super, super intelligent people around the world. They have their eye on it, and trying to figure out how to make it even better and more private, more secure, more fast, more cheap, more everything. So I don't know. I mean, it's been a while now. I've been just blabbing on about Bitcoin, been like 12, 13 years, but it's really exciting to see something so small and so niche and so awkward and weird, but now reach the points of like, and there's still such a long way to go, right? But the fact that it's even come this far, I think, is fascinating. Yeah, so Lightning, everyone should look into it, yeah, and start helping us maybe test out our Lightning system. I appreciate Abhijit's comments as well. But where do we go from here?
So Sunny, just a few days back, like I said, a few of my friends came over and we were having this discussion. So one of this friend of mine asked a very interesting question. We say that Bitcoin is unhackable because a lot of people have tried and failed, and the security is very top notch. But there are a couple of things when it comes to that. Again, with the influence of Lightning Network, does it get a little vulnerable because those people are now asking me questions and asking me to ask this question. I think they're probably watching or something. So, how is essentially Bitcoin unhackable? And again, how is the impact of Lightning making it? Is it making it vulnerable further, or not at all, or increasing, contributing to its security?
Wow, those are some good questions and probably above my pay grade. But the first question is, why is Bitcoin unhackable? Uh, Yeah, that's a good question. First of all, I mean, it just uses technology that, like, the beauty of Bitcoin is that Satoshi didn't come up with something brand new per se. What he did, or she, or they, what they did is they took a group of technologies that were already in existence, like SHA-256 is something that like that type of encryption and technology, it's like everywhere. It's like if that stopped working, your banks would stop working, the military would stop working. There's just like fundamental pieces of the puzzle that he brought together that enable the creation of this new thing called Bitcoin. But all the technology that he uses are like they were like the right choice in many ways, right? Even looking back 10, 11 years. And so Bitcoin, I mean, it's just, there's so much to it. Unhackable is a big word, right? So it's not that Bitcoin has never been stolen, right? Because you hear about people having Bitcoin stolen from them. But the way Bitcoin works, it uses this thing called like private key, public key cryptography, where it pushes security out to the edges. And so now, like while for example, I personally may get hacked, to hack the Bitcoin network is almost impossible. And like you said, people have been trying since the beginning. And because of the way it's designed, it's like literally impenetrable. And again, but it doesn't mean to say that if I, let's say, hold some Bitcoin on my phone and some bad guy gets access to it, puts a keylogger or something on my phone, it doesn't mean that that person can't steal my Bitcoin, right? So it kind of it's asymmetric in the sense that there's a tremendous amount of responsibility that gets put onto the users, and now it comes upon us to, like, if we want to exercise this, like, this almost superpower, you could call it, right? The fact that Bitcoin allows you to hold your own keys is so different from banks and so different from the current financial system that it takes a lot of people. Like, you have to watch Aditya, you have to watch these guys' videos, you have to read Bitcoin Standard, you have to really learn about this stuff. BTC, what's that guy's name from Canada? Oh, I forget his name right now, but there's a great guy out of Canada that does like tons of videos um, on Bitcoin and how to use it. So, I mean, again, I think I'd probably give myself a 2 out of 10 on that answer. But yeah, maybe I'll have to come back to it. Maybe I'll write a blog about it or something and try and address it. But it's built on great technology. It pushes security to the edges. It relies on things that have been around for a long time, and it's just super secure. I don't know how to say it. Now, Lightning, you could argue, well, Lightning has benefits and disadvantages. So the fact that it uses the Bitcoin network to settle the in and out, like the final, like the initial, opening of the channel and then closing of it, means that it's leveraging the Bitcoin network to do its kind of bidding. However, because it's a private channel and it's a channel away from Bitcoin, people criticize that it may be vulnerable to attacks. But I don't know. I don't know enough to like kind of go deeper into it. I think, I would have to maybe address it in a follow up, live stream. I don't want to just make up stuff and like, have people call me out. The internet's brutal. So yeah, that's a good question.
The internet is brutal. That's very true. And with Bitcoin, I feel like it's a whole different world. So have you did you get a chance to visit El Salvador after it being adopted as a legal tender?
No, I have not. I have not. I went to Costa Rica, but not El Salvador.
Apparently they were running this visa program, and some sort of investor visa program. I did not read about it in detail, but it was very interesting. I mean, if I could, I would have been there, because lately I have been having this thing where I really want to see how a Bitcoin economy looks like, and how does that work? How is it for a day-to-day life transactions? And I think Lightning is a big contributor there as well, because again, like you said, there's 7 transactions per second, and for that kind of daily uses, that might not be very speedy, and I'm sure Lightning is being used over there very heavily. So I mean, what all states do you think really need that kind of a transaction system right now on an immediate basis?
Um, I was going to answer that question, but I'm not going to lie. I was kind of cheating a bit, and I thought to make this episode a bit more, meaningful, I would do my ChatGPT search. So I did touch on it, but can I go back to the last question and like give some bullet points? And again, I'm not lying. It's not me, but I thought it made some good points, and I like the order I put it in. So decentralization, which I talked about, right, and pushing security to the edges. I think the fact that it's decentralized makes it very difficult for hackers to compromise the entire system. Number two is cryptography, which I also alluded to, but it uses cryptographic techniques to secure transactions. And so at the heart of it, there's, like I said, SHA-256, and it uses cryptography, which is what the US military uses. And, it's like this really invincible math, you could say, where you can go one way easily, but can't go the other way easily. And then number three, it talks about blockchain technology, which is essentially a public ledger that records all transactions in a chain of blocks. So that's, I guess, super important. I didn't probably allude to that, but the public ledger, the fact that it exists on thousands, tens of thousands of computers makes it makes the whole network that much more resilient and immutable, because everyone holds a copy of the truth, so that makes it more unhackable. And then the last one is proof of work, which I also fully forgot. But Bitcoin uses a consensus algorithm called proof of work, which requires miners to solve complex mathematical problems to add a new block to the blockchain. The process requires significant computational power, making it unfeasible for attackers to manipulate the blockchain. So anyways, so just to summarize, decentralization, cryptography, blockchain technology, and proof of work. The question around the Lightning Network is that, what's the TLDR? It operates independently of the Bitcoin blockchain, and transactions of the Lightning Network are settled on the Bitcoin blockchain, inheriting its security properties. So I kind of alluded to that as well. Okay, I can maybe go to sleep today with a bit more clear conscience that anybody who was looking for a real answer got it. It wasn't, it was Sunny parroting ChatGPT, but ChatGPT did a good job. I admit. So, okay, can we go back to your question? What was your question again? You asked me something totally different. I was searching for some piece there.
Yes. So, first we'll take Saurabh's question from here, and then we'll go back to the question that I asked. Saurabh is asking, when will BTC Lightning Network be available in the app?
Check to see if it is. If it's not, it's definitely available in web. I thought we had already had a piece of it there, but yeah, this is something that we just launched maybe 2 months ago. So we're just rolling it out, and yeah, if you want to like DM us on Twitter or whatever, get in touch with us. We can get you in touch with our engineering team if you want to help us, get Lightning going properly.
I think it's not there in the iOS, but from my last whatever
Android?
information I have, it's supposed to be in Android. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Please do check if you have an Android phone. I think it should be there on Android. Otherwise, the web app is there. Just go to the website, utilize it there. I personally prefer using the web app more because it's a bigger screen and you get to have a bigger outlook of everything. So my perspective per se is to have a bigger screen. I don't know why. And I don't even know why did I get the smaller version of this phone, because I like the phone that doesn't fit in my palm. So that kinds of
Hey, by
me.
the way, our Unocoin's volumes are up like 400% this month. I mean, I know that's not saying much because everybody's volumes are up, but we're happy about that. Yeah, so people are buying and selling, mostly buying, I guess. And yeah, it's nice to see that the market's waking up again in a big way.
Bull
What
run.
was you had a question though that I kind of glossed over, yeah, before I went into
Yes.
my ChatGPT spiel.
So what I was asking is, I personally feel like visiting El Salvador once whenever I can, and I know it's not anytime soon, but I want to do that once, and I want to see how a Bitcoin economy looks like. And since you're already, close to states, not in states but close to states, I'm sure you must have some idea of how a Bitcoin economy is looking like right now, and what all places do you think need an immediate implementation of Bitcoin economy?
I mean, the closest I got to see a Bitcoin economy, I think, might be what's it called? The conference I was at when I did my live stream with you,
Okay,
Bitcoin
yeah.
Jungle. It was like in Costa Rica, Yeah, so Saurabh's saying it's not there. So check the web app; it'll for sure be there. And let us know if it's not there, and it's coming to the app very soon as well. But thanks for pointing
Yes.
that out. Yeah, Bitcoin Jungle in Costa Rica. They had almost every shop you walked into, every store, every restaurant. They had a little sign saying we accept Bitcoin. And so, the person that I know the best there that is been a big part of all of it. His name is Francis. He's the CEO of Bull Bitcoin, and yeah, and he's leading the charge there. It seems like the conference was hosted by him and a bunch of people there, and it was really inspiring to see. And it's easier, right? Because it's smaller. Like they have it's like a small group of companies and whatnot. That it's not like downtown New York or whatever. But I think that makes it. But it's also kind of nice because it's like in Costa Rica. It's like paradise, and they've found this sweet spot where they've just been able to bring Bitcoin, to the masses there, and they've done a really good job. But they've proven that you can create. And then there's this beautiful app that they've built called Bitcoin Jungle, which has Lightning and everything, integrated inside of it. And so, yeah, I think that was the closest I ever got. I'm dying to go to El Salvador. Max Kaiser is an investor in Unocoin, right? And he's like the spokesman there or whatever, spokesperson there. So
Right,
he's
and yes.
always saying, come down. Like, well, so yeah, so it's on my list. I mean, now, yeah, maybe this year we'll see.
I mean, each time Sunny you bring up that conference, I personally get so jealous because oh my god, what a heavenly thing that would have been to experience. And I feel like with you as well, you've been there in the space for more than 10 years, and now that you see it getting more mainstream, I know I might have asked you this question before, but now that you see Bitcoin now reaching very close to the USD all-time high as well, and it might happen before halving, and this would be the first time it happens. So how
What
would
what
it
what
be?
the all-time high for USD, you mean?
Yes.
Yes, it might happen before the halving, which is crazy because I don't think that's ever happened before. Like
Yes,
usually
it,
the halving kind of kicks everything off. This time it seems like we're ahead of the curve a little bit. But I think I don't know. Again, I hate making predictions because every time I do, I end up, not looking super
no,
smart.
no,
At least short-term predictions. I like long-term predictions because that's
not
easy to predict.
predictions per se,
Number
but
go up.
I really want to understand, like, I want to see or maybe hear from you how you feel about it, because when you started your journey in Bitcoin, I'm sure when you came to India, when you were talking about it in meetups, 90% of the reaction would have been like, oh, it's a scam, oh, it's a fake thing, oh, it's just gonna be used for terrorist funding and all of these purposes, because that was the perspective back then. Now that you see Bitcoin becoming more mainstream with the Costa Rica experience, where people were accepting Bitcoin as a method of payment, and now that the all-time high might just happen before having. How does that feel? This journey?
I don't know. It feels amazing. Yeah, it feels. I don't know, probably for lack of a better word, but it feels awesome. And I'm sure a lot of people feel quite vindicated, right? Because and here's the thing is that while we're above the all-time highs and while this lasts however long it is for the next 6 months or 3 months or 2 years or whatever, Bitcoiners are going to come off as looking like they were smart and prophetic. But keep in mind, once this hits, I don't know, 500K, 800K, there's going to be a fall and it will come crashing down and it'll probably settle at around 150K or something or 200K, and it might sit there for a couple of years, and all that time people will only look at the fact that, look, it went up to almost $1 million and then it dropped to 200K. Like, think of all the people who lost their money, and how can you get excited about this dinky technology? So I think history will kind of just repeat itself. Hey Shambhavi, oh, you back? It looked like you lost connection there for a bit. Are you back?
Yep. I think I'm lagging a lot, aren't I?
Yeah, a little
Can
bit.
you?
It's okay. It's okay. But yeah, but short answer, I'm very excited. Yeah, and I think we're at the end of our time too. So I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to go over, or if you want me to
Yes,
close it
yes,
out.
yes. I think now we should conclude our today's session. It was very interesting and insightful, and there can never be enough discussion around Bitcoin. And of course, moving forward, we'll have more and more discussions around it as we go closer to halving. So, guys, stay tuned. Make sure to follow us on all of our social media channels to get another update on whenever we are doing our next session. Till then, keep hodling, I would say, the exact term to for it. And I mean, keep learning about Bitcoin and the market. So thank you
And
for.
it, oh, I was gonna say before we let them go, so Unocoin, we do have Lightning on the web app, so we're proud of that, and we're gonna keep building on that. Second thing is we have crypto withdrawals, Bitcoin withdrawals, which is huge. So tell your friends, you can actually take possession of it, send it to your own wallet. And the third is we were the first company to launch dollar cost averaging in India. So our view is that's the best way to accumulate Bitcoin, is just to use the systematic buying plan. All right. Thank you, Shambhavi. That was awesome.
Yep, I would say not just the first in India, first in the world to have a system like SBP
First in the
for
world. I've
so
yet to be
that's
proven otherwise. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Satvik was the first to build that for us. So
yes. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Please do go and explore the Lightning Network on the web app and tell us how you feel about it. If you need any assistance, Sunny's always there. Sunny's DMs open, my DMs open for any assistance you need. The comment section, of course. So let us know. Thank you everyone for joining today. Thank you, Sunny, for your time and giving us such an insightful session on Bitcoin.
oh, looks like she cut out. Okay, bye-bye.